June 1944, the D-Day landings in Normandy marked the beginning of the end of World War II. They're also the most significant moment in the history of a great Highland clan.
The story of Clan Fraser began when a French knight named Fraser left Normandy in the 12th century for a new life in Scotland.
His descendants would become one of the most powerful Highland clans, renowned for their ferocious fighting spirit.
The Frasers' 900-year-long journey came full circle when Simon Fraser, the 25th clan chief, landed back on the beaches of Normandy, walking in the footsteps of his ancestors.
The history of the Highlands and Islands has been forged by war. Through the ages, kilted clan warriors gained a fierce reputation for their unwavering loyalty and steadfast courage in battle. I'm making a personal journey beyond the myths and the tartan to uncover the real story of Scotland's Highland clans. A reminder of their long and distinguished military history can be seen in the pageantry of events like the Inverness Tattoo.
Of Lovat, pipes and drums.
Centuries before the modern British Army came into being, the Highlands were already a warrior society. Each clan was like a regiment, and bound together by ties of honour and kinship, these bands of brothers could be quickly mobilised in times of conflict.
In the 18th century, the British government recognised that the once feared kilted clansman was superbly qualified to become the shock troops of an expanding empire.
Among the first to enlist were the Frasers in 1758. Now what makes this so remarkable is that just a decade earlier, this clan, which was one of the most powerful and influential in all the Highlands, had actually been fighting against the British Army.
At the height of their powers, the Frasers controlled the rich lands to the west and south of Inverness. Their spiritual home was in Beaulieu, where their Norman ancestors had settled in the 13th century. But my journey into the history of this famous Highland clan begins in the 21st century with a very different kind of Fraser campaign. Today, Simon Fraser, the current clan chief, is fighting plans to erect massive pylons that would carry electricity cables across his ancestral lands. In Beaulieu, I asked Simon how the battle was progressing.
It's going to be a Beaulieu to Denny line. It's going to be the 165-foot pylon, and that is 3 times higher than an average tree in Scotland. Every power generation facility north of Beaulieu runs into the switching station, which is here at Balbelare. So this is the route here.
And that's going through what was the ancestral Fraser lands.
This is all ancestral Fraser land. I mean, this is something that's going to affect Scotland, and once these pylons go up, they're never going to get taken down. They're going to be motorways of pylons. They're going to be going from the north of the Highlands through the whole way down through the Cangles National Park and areas of extreme natural beauty.
Why are you so passionate about this?
Well, my personal role in all this is I have a voice in the Highlands, and people are, you know, by the nature of my past. And I feel I can do something about it.
So this is a campaign that you're fighting personally now, because your family have got a long history of fighting campaigns. Do you think this fighting tradition built up by Clan Fraser has served them well?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. No, it's a romantic and rich, colourful history. I think the Frasers have always fought hard for what they believe in. Right or wrong, that's irrelevant. I think people admire that. You see it even today. People really feel passionately about belonging to this larger sort of romantic ideal of a clan with military background. They love the idea of fighting. I think it's a remarkable history we've got. It's 1,000 years of history, and there's few things more romantic than the clan ideal.
250 years ago, belonging to a Highland clan could be a matter of life or death. In the 18th century, the Frasers became involved in a violent struggle for control of the British Crown.
It's hard for us to imagine today, but back in 1745, the Frasers were actually enemies of the state after their chief came out in support of a rebellion that almost changed the course of British history. It was a decision that would cost Clan Fraser dearly.
In 1745, Bonnie Prince Charlie landed on the west coast of Scotland. A year later, his military campaign to restore the Stuarts to the British throne came to a bloody climax. Culloden Moor lies just a few miles east of Inverness. It was here, on this rough, boggy ground, that Clan Fraser faced a government army intent on crushing the Highland clans that had come out in support of the young Pretender.
The Battle of Culloden ended in total defeat for Bonnie Prince Charlie and the Jacobite army. In less than an hour, over 1,300 clansmen were slaughtered here, including many, many Frasers. And in the bloody aftermath, their bodies were unceremoniously dumped in these mass graves.
The Frasers who fought and died at Culloden had answered the call of their clan chief to join the rebellion of 1745. In the years before the battle, Simon the Fox climbed to the very top of British society. I want to know why this wily Highland chief decided to risk everything by backing Bonnie Prince Charlie. Author and historian Sarah Fraser believes the answer can be seen in two contrasting portraits, one of a young Simon and the other a caricature of the rebel he became.
Two portraits of the most notorious member of the clan, Lord Lovat of the 45.
Simon the Fox.
Simon the Fox. This is before he became what someone has called the last and oldest of the great Scottish Celtic chiefs, and the other one is when he is. So what I quite like about it is there anything in this that would show you who he was going to become and why? And
What kind of character was he? I mean, he's called Simon the Fox. Is there a reason for that?
There came to be a reason, and I think initially it's because he was a thwarted man, because he wasn't born to be the chief. He was the second son of the second branch.
So how does he become clan chief?
Due to a series of deaths from which he benefited, he suddenly found himself propelled up the family tree to becoming the male heir. Except for one thing, the late Lord Lovat had daughters, and the oldest of these was the female heiress. Her family intended her to marry someone else and control the Frasers through her, and Simon wasn't going to have any of that.
So this is all about Simon trying to become clan chief?
Precisely, yes. He decides he'll forcibly marry the mother of the heiress, and he tells her the good news, and she refuses him. So what he does is bring in a parson, and one of the records says the lady not being willing, the parson was called for and the bagpipe blown up to drown her screams of consummation, and he forces a marriage with her.
Sounds like rape.
Yes, it is and it isn't, because afterwards, when her family try and retrieve her, she doesn't want to go. She wants to stay with him. And through all the law cases which they do bring against him, she won't testify. But she agreed to live with him, was happy to live with him afterwards.
But he seems a very ambitious man.
Yes.
He's very focused. He's got a lot to prove.
He has got a lot to prove. And he is the heir and he will become the chief.
Sarah, shall we go and have a look at the other portrait?
Yes, let's, because this is the whole point. This is a portrait of Simon Lord Lovat in the last year of his life, and this is who he has become to the British people by this time. And that face is full of character.